My son bought a 1996 Camaro, and we're going to work on it and show you all the stupid things that were done to it today. Uh, this should be a lot of fun. Some of the things that are done on here are absolutely genius or ridiculous. I'm not sure. We're going to show you. I'm not sure if the person who owned this car before or what thought it was some kind of race car or what, but this is literally just a 96 Camaro that has a 6-cylinder in it. Okay, first things first. This is a Colorado car. I don't know what part of Colorado. We just know it came out of Colorado. We bought it in South Dakota. And that's big just because, I mean, look at it. You know, here's the deal. If you look down here, I don't know if we'll see this in the video, there's some minor hail damage along both tops of the quarters over there. But, and then the hood, we haven't washed it yet either since we got it. So, like, maybe some of this isn't going to see, we're not going to see this. So, there's not any in the fenders or the doors because doors are fiberglass. And from what I can tell, so are the fenders. Right? So, they didn't get any hail damage. There's none here either. I don't know why. But she's a pretty complete car. Uh, the whole let's paint the stock rims black. I don't know. Oh, it's coming off up there. But let's open the hood. Well, let's look inside. One of those cars that, well, it came with a factory start button. The key ignition, you have to turn it so far and then you push this to start. We'll get into what that's all doing too. But pop the hood. I mean, seriously, it's really not that bad. I mean, yeah, it's dirty. Needs to be cleaned. It's sat in a, oh, no, this is the best part of it, a grenade, or what used to be a grenade shifter. Um, yeah, it sat in a field for a couple of years. I think the tabs when we bought it were from 2018 in South Dakota. Um, it has the traditional fuel pump access door that somebody cut in. So there's that. Um, yeah, smoked taillights. Thank you. Making them harder to see. We really appreciate that. Uh, this one too is smoked. Yeah, yeah. Flat tires. We got one new tire over there, and the rest of them are old, rotten. And we drove 3 hours. Or I didn't. My son drove 3 hours. Uh, yeah, with this car the way it was. So we're going to show you a few things. Now, I'm actually, well, we've been working on this thing now since it came home pretty much. Every night we do a little bit. This is one of my favorite parts. I mean, totally my favorite part. I mean, like, this to me looks like uh, dryer venting. I know it's not, but that's what it looks like to me. Okay? And he's got this stuck on here. This is a actual rubber, like, silicone boot. And he's got it, like, electrical taped on there. And then this is from us because we popped a hole in that. So he did such a good job at this, with this custom, you know, DIY, no, yeah. DIY. He did such a good job at this DIY custom intake that, well, he left the, what do they call it? It's the air temperature sensor out for the intake. Just hanging. We read the codes, and I mean, obviously, it had a code in there for unexpected high idle. I mean, I'm just saying. So the other thing, put headers on it. So it's got headers. Or maybe it came factory with headers. I don't know. I didn't look it up on this car. He's changed one coil, I think. Um, he's never washed it underneath here. That whoever it was. Um, okay, so from what we understand, partially, there's something wrong with the key. It's got one of those. You got the key. You GM guys, remember this? The little thingy here that puts off a signal of some kind. Anyway, that's apparently not working right. So that's what the push button was supposedly about. That's what we were told. We don't know. We don't know. He took and put this little thing in. So this is some kind of little bypass for the key so that it doesn't have to have the security thing on it. Okay, now my son's already started working on this. We're going to show you what he did here to wire this in, and a couple other things that we've actually already undone. But it's pretty funny. The what they call is the power distribution center or whatever. I looked it up on the diagrams. So that funny little diode over there on the other side. That's the wire. This is the power wire. This is he came over here for keyed power. Now I get it, because if you go over there, let's just take a look here in this like general area here. Like, they're well, I mean, I don't know, but it doesn't seem to be. I mean, maybe there's some keyed power over here. I don't know what these things do, but I'm guessing maybe that was the only place he could get keyed power, or the guys, like I said, insane. That's the possibility. So he took and he put it underneath the fuse. That's all he did. He just stuck it in there, stuck the fuse on top of it. Wing wang. There we go. Now there's no fuse any other than that one in the rest of the system anywhere. Nowhere. Um, he also did this fan that way. That was another thing that we're working on, is why the fans don't turn on. Apparently the cooling fans are having issues. But he had taken out the power for that fan, the positive side, out of here, and out of the box itself. He didn't mess up the he didn't mess up the clip on the bottom of this where the relay plugs into the wire, the top of the wire. He just pulled it out, because you can pull these little white things out, and then the whole thing comes out. So, there's a little tool too. You can, release the lock, and then it all slips out. Anyway, he had taken that wire and he had just dropped it off to the side, and then he had done this same exact thing on this one here, and then he had connected them together, right, with a butt connector out here, boop, boop, boop. And yeah, I don't know what that signal was for, but I'm just saying, he put a butt connector out here with the power for this fan, right, and what made it off of this one. So whenever you turn the car, because this is another keyed power right here, when you turn the key on, the fan would run. So we don't know. Uh, we couldn't get the fans to run last night, but if there's issues with the computer, we're trying to undo everything this guy did so that we can figure out what the actual problem is with the car. That's my plan, at least. Right, our plan. Yeah. That's our plan. Yeah. So he did that. So we've already undone that, because we're trying to work on that. It's got an idle issue somewhere, and part of it is this. So my son is ordering in a new intake for this, so that it'll have this in there, and it'll be better than just shoved in this hole here. It'll be more like an actual cold air intake. Yeah. So then we move forward to the. We're going to move forward and go to the um, push button. Okay, so I hope these little wires back there, the black and the red one, So they come out of the firewall and they run down there. I don't even know if I can get a view of it where they go. Yeah, so I can't even show you from here. So he took the red wire that's coming out of the firewall and he hooked it up to the lug that has the it's the all power. Yeah, the power comes off of the battery directly. He took that red wire and hooked it up directly to that lug on the starter. Then he took the black wire. Well, then he ran it inside, put it into that switch. No fuse, no relay, no nothing for just in case. You know, there is a rubber grommet in there, but no any other way to make sure that that doesn't just light on fire. And then he took the black wire, put it on the other side. Oop, turned it on, turned it off. Okay, and then he ran that out and into the proper place where you're supposed to put that the little lug where the the signal goes to turn ignite the solenoid, to turn the starter, all that thing. So yeah, he did that. I wish I could show that better, but you can't see in there. Um, Maybe when we crawl under, we'll show you when we undo it. What else? The high beams, when we picked the car up, it was night. Like, we were coming home at night. High beams were stuck on. Anyway, that has to do with the steering column. We figured out that it's got nothing to do. He didn't wire it that way. The steering column is actually a little messed up, and the rod that comes from the lever for the brights is fallen off, and so it doesn't engage that switch. So that's got to be fixed. We're going to tear the column out of it, I think, this weekend and get this fixed up. We think that that's the same thing problem with the key. I think the key is not igniting the starter because it's not hitting that has a lever on it as well, and we don't think it's hitting in the right spot either. So because the column is messed up, it's got a tilt steering in it, and it kind of does all this crap to it. So I guess the last thing is the exhaust. So let's look at the exhaust. That's the original. I don't know if we can see that. That's the original Y pipe, from what I can tell. Come down this way, and oh look, that's not a catalytic converter. That's a thrush glass pack of some kind. Well, then we go further, and we realize that, well, this is like pumped in here, like, because the mufflers or the catalytic converter is supposed to sit up in here, and the floorboard goes down right there. But he chose to just run it all the way back, so it hangs, put like 3 inches below the car. Never turned it because it in the original exhaust. You'll come out of the catalytic converter and then go that way, and then turn down by the drive shaft. Now I don't know if he's trying to get that bend out of there. I really don't know what the logic to it is, but this leads us to some of the greatest stuff about this. Now, I want you to really look at this weld. On the top side up here, up on this edge, look at how it's not even connected. He welded, there's a weld there, but he didn't weld in the crack. There's multiple spots. There's one right here where he didn't weld in the crack. I'm going to guess if we took this off, it's going to be in there. He welded a hook on here, but it's not doing any good because it's ripped off the floor. So I'm guessing that he bottomed out and ripped off this stuff or whatever at one point. And then we come to this, which is the most ingenious, I guess, way I've ever seen anybody use a U-bolt. He's got the U-bolt through the frame, but then it wasn't long enough. So he has welded it to the base of the U-bolt instead of, going and getting a different U-bolt and, bolting it on that way. I guess you work with what you got, right? Anyway, then it just ends right there. Well, I can tell everything he's done works, I guess, technically. Which is why I give it this whole. I'm not sure whether he was insane or genius, or just dumb. I'm not sure. I'm like some of these things, like just don't get it. Like the welds on the muffler are not the same welds as what were on the U-bolt coming through, right? Like they weren't as boogered. So I don't know if somebody else did that for him. Maybe Dad. Maybe it was a young kid was messing with the car and cut the exhaust off, and then Dad had to come in and fix it, and just Dad just kind of goes, "Well, I'm just going to throw it together," and whatever. But yeah, this is one we're going to be working on. You're going to turn it into some kind of a drag car type thing, street car, so we can do drags, go to the drag strip and drive it on the street, and then, or he can, sorry. Um, got a lot of work to do on it. Exhaust, tires, rims. We're going to try and clean this paint up for sure first, one of the first things. It seems to run pretty good. It's got 200 and some odd thousand miles on, almost 300,000 miles on, 270 or something like that. But underneath the car is complete. Is it 250? But underneath the car is completely clean. There's a couple spots where he must have jacked up the car on the unibody body, where the seam is, and then it's all bunched over. So we're gonna see if that's fixable or not, or we're able. I mean, like it's not horribly bad, so it doesn't really disfigure the car any. We may just leave it just so it's not messed up. Um, it does have a posi track. It's got a 4L60E, so at some point we want to engine swap it with a V8. You can do that. I got another LT1 we can drop in this thing if we really wanted to. And the computer system. But either way, yeah, we're looking forward to putting this thing together, and we hope you follow along. And thanks for joining us. Catch you next time.
Got a lot of wins on my dinner plate. Ain't coming down, gotta levitate. I know my next win is the best one, so I tell them that I'm on to the on.